Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Josh and welcome to Chimp Skills. Today we're going to be looking at speed reading. So if you're a bit like myself and read like a caveman, and reading takes up a lot of your time, this is just the thing for you. So for today, it's going to take around 15 minutes and you want to do the session all in one go. So a lot of that time and do it all in one session. First things, what are you going to need? A pen, a pad of paper to record your scores, a book with at least sort of a couple of hundred pages and something you can lay flat, and you'll also need a timer, so I've been using my iPhone. If you don't have all those things, then I suggest you hit pause and go grab them now. Cool, so now that you've got all the gear you need, basically we've got to calculate your current word speed. But in order to do that, we need to figure out how many words are on each page of your book. A fast and simple way to do that is to count how many words are in 5 lines of your book. So just take the first 5 lines, count the number of words, and then divide that number by 5. That should give you the average number of words per line. Then what you need to do is count how many lines are on 5 pages and divide that number by 5. And that will give you the average number of lines per page. Multiply those two numbers together and you'll get the average number of words per page. So once you've done that and you've figured it out, just record that on your pad so you've got that as a reference point. Now, the first thing we want to do is we want to test your current comprehension rate, or the speed you can read at. So the first thing you're going to do is set your timer for 1 minute and you're just going to read. So set that now, hit go and read. When you've finished, just mark on your book how far you've got down, count those number of lines, and then you can figure it out by calculating your score by multiplying the number of lines by the average number of words per line. Then record your score and we'll check it out. How'd you go? So the average person reads around 200 to 300 words per minute, with 1% of the population reading 400 words per minute. So today we're going to go through 5 drills, and at the end of those 5 drills we're going to do another test for the minute, just like we did at the beginning, to reassess your speed. So typically we don't actually read from left to right when we're reading on the page. We read in sort of saccadic movements or jumps, so groups of text at a time. And today some of these drills are going to look at minimizing the number and duration of fixations per line. It's also going to look at eliminating regression and back skipping, which is when we go back and reread, and that accounts for around 30% of our time. And then we're also going to look at improving peripheral vision and the number of words per fixation. So that takes up to around 25 to 50% of our reading time. So, first drill, what we're going to do is you're going to grab your timer and you're going to set it for 2 minutes. And all you're going to do is you're going to grab your pen. So your pen's going to act as a pacer, or you can just use the end of your finger. All I want you to do is focus on the tip of the pen, and then I want you to scan along each line for 1 second per line. You can do that for the whole 2 minutes. So I'll just make it aware that you're not really focused on comprehension, or don't worry if you're not understanding what you're reading at this stage. These are all drills just to improve your reflexes. So all you're doing, focusing on the tip of your pen, going 1 second per line, scanning along. So it's important you don't daydream either, so just citing the words as you're going through. So if you hit pause now, and yeah, do that 2 minutes and we'll do the next drill. Cool. So now you've done that, the next drill we're going to do is we're going to do exactly the same thing that we just did before, but we're going to increase the pace. So this is going to go for 3 minutes, and what we're going to do now is we're going to go, instead of going 1 line per second, we're going to go 2 lines per second, or half a second per line. So if you think about it, 1 1000, 2 1000. So it's going to be pretty quick. It's important that you maintain the speed, and again, not really concern yourself with the comprehension at this point. So yeah, set your timer for 3 minutes, grab your pen, and off you go. Alright, so the next drill we're going to do, drill number 3, so we're going to look at expanding that peripheral vision that we spoke about earlier. So typically when we read, and we read all the way to the end of the line, because we're focusing on that last word on the line, or the first word of the line, some of our peripheral vision is being wasted in the margins where there's no text. So what we're looking at doing is we're going to improve that. So for the next drill, set your time for 1 minute. Again, we're going to go back to scanning 1 line per second, but this time I want you to skip the first word of the line and the last word of the line. So completely ignore those. So if you're scanning, you'd be starting the second word in and finishing on the second last word. So go for 1 minute, scanning 1 second per line, but missing out the first word and missing out the last word of each line. So give that a go now. So now what we're going to do is, again, we're going to set the timer for 1 minute and we're going to go 1 second per line again. But this time we're going to start from the third word in from the line. So we're going to eliminate the first 2 words of each line and the last 2 words of each line. So starting the third word in and finishing the third word from the end. So again, set your timer for 1 minute, 1 second per line. Keep your focus. Again, comprehension's not really relevant at this point. It might be sort of too fast for you to even take any of it in, but you just want to maintain keeping that speed of the pen at 1 second per line. So give that a go. Okay, so this is the last drill and it gets pretty extreme. So this time I want you to eliminate the first 3 words and the last 3 words, of each line. So essentially you're just going to be reading in the middle of the page as you're going through. And this time we're going to increase the speed, so we're going to go back to ½ second per line because we're going to be taking in much less text. And also it's going to be going for 3 minutes. So set your time for 3 minutes, eliminating the first 3 words and the last 3 words of each line, scanning at ½ second per line. And it's important you maintain that speed. So give that a go now. Okay, so the last thing we're going to do now is get back to what we did at the beginning. So again, go back to where you started and you'll have your little mark of how far you got in your first sort of minute. So it's really cool when you actually surpass that point in a pretty quick period of time. So what I want you to do now is, go back to that beginning point, set your timer for 1 minute and read at the fastest rate that you can comprehend. And we'll see how you go. Cool, how'd you go? So, in order to figure out your new reading speed in words per minute, if you haven't already done so, just like we did at the beginning. So just count the number of lines that you read and then multiply that by the average number of words per line that you figured it out right at the start, and that will give you a new score. Feel free to comment below with your before and after scores and have a look at and see how everyone else did. Feel free to share this video and I'll see you guys soon. Later.